Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today we're diving into a topic that's on the minds of governments, analysts, and everyday people around the world. Why are superpowers preparing for conflict? As global tensions rise and military budgets increase, many are starting to ask, are we on the edge of something major, or is this just the usual posturing of geopolitical giants? From the outside, the current state of international affairs looks increasingly aggressive. Military drills have become more frequent, with countries like the United States, China, and Russia showcasing advanced weapons, conducting war games near contested territories, and reinforcing their global alliances. What was once seen as precautionary is now beginning to look like preparation. Nations are making it clear, they are ready to protect their interests, even if it means going to war. Step inside the strategic command centers of these global powers, and it becomes clear that the interior logic is driven by control, deterrence, and competition. Superpowers view the global stage as a chessboard. And in this game, technology, economics, and ideology all play major roles. Decision-makers inside these governments are analyzing not just troop movements but satellite imagery, digital infrastructure, and even social media influence. While the public sees soldiers and submarines, these nations are also arming themselves with AI, cyber weapons, and information dominance. The performance of today's military systems is nothing short of staggering. Hypersonic missiles that can travel at 5 times the speed of sound. Stealth bombers that can evade radar. Nuclear submarines capable of staying submerged for months, completely undetected. Countries are investing billions into drone swarms, laser weapons, and 5th-generation fighter jets. This isn't just about firepower, it's about who can strike first, faster, and more precisely. Performance is measured in milliseconds, and the most powerful nations are racing toward a new frontier of warfare. Safety features in global strategy are designed not only to protect the citizens of each country but also to avoid full-scale nuclear catastrophe. Nuclear triads, missile defense systems, and early warning radars are meant to ensure that no one gets the upper hand in a surprise attack. Agreements like the New START Treaty and communication hotlines between military leaders are some of the few safety nets remaining. But many of these safeguards are aging or being dismantled. With more countries joining the nuclear club, and more cyber threats emerging, the margin for error is shrinking fast. One of the most unique selling points of this military buildup is the narrative behind it. Each superpower tells its citizens and allies that their actions are purely defensive. The United States speaks of preserving global democracy and freedom. China emphasizes the need to protect its sovereignty and ensure regional stability. Russia argues it is resisting Western encroachment and safeguarding its traditional sphere of influence. These narratives are used to justify everything from increased military budgets to controversial foreign policies. Another major selling point is technological dominance. Superpowers aren't just preparing for conventional wars. They are preparing for future wars, those fought in space, cyberspace, and the electromagnetic spectrum. From satellite-killing missiles to cyber attacks on critical infrastructure, the next major conflict may not begin with boots on the ground, but with bytes in the cloud. Nations are pouring resources into quantum computing, surveillance networks, and artificial intelligence to gain an edge long before a single shot is fired. And of course, there's the economic angle. Defense spending has become a major driver of economies. It fuels jobs, boosts technological development, and even influences stock markets. Defense contractors thrive during uncertain times. In many cases, building weapons and maintaining bases abroad is seen as a form of economic strategy, not just national security. This economic incentive fuels a cycle, where preparing for conflict becomes a business model, not just a defense plan. So, what's the price of all this preparation? Literally, it's trillions of dollars. The U.S. defense budget alone surpasses $800 billion annually. China's defense spending is the second largest and climbing every year. Russia, despite economic sanctions, continues to funnel massive resources into its military modernization. But the true cost isn't just financial. It's diplomatic, social, and environmental. The cost is in lost trust, in arms races that escalate tensions, and in opportunities missed to invest in peace, education, and sustainability. There's also a psychological price. Citizens across the world are living under growing anxiety. Images of missiles, tanks, and warships flood their screens daily. Political rhetoric is becoming more militarized. Children are growing up in a world where talk of World War III is no longer dismissed as fiction. The preparation for war, even if it never comes, shapes minds, cultures, and futures. At the heart of this preparation lies one brutal truth: fear. Fear of losing power. Fear of being attacked. Fear of falling behind. It's this fear that drives nations to stockpile weapons, deploy troops, and harden their defenses. But fear is also what makes diplomacy so difficult. When nations are afraid, they don't compromise easily. They double down, reinforcing the very cycle of conflict they seek to avoid. So where does this leave us? Are we destined for another global conflict, or is this just part of the geopolitical dance that's always been there? The answer isn't simple. While there are certainly real threats and dangerous provocations, there are also systems in place to prevent escalation. Dialogue still happens. Treaties, however fragile, still exist. Civil society, diplomacy, and even public pressure can still make a difference. But ignoring the signs would be a mistake. History has shown that preparations for war often lead to war, sometimes by miscalculation, sometimes by accident, and sometimes by design. It's up to citizens, policymakers, and leaders to choose a different path, one that values cooperation over confrontation. In conclusion, superpowers are preparing for conflict because they see a world filled with risk and uncertainty. They are investing in military strength as a form of insurance, a show of dominance, and a means of survival. But preparation should never replace negotiation. Power should never silence peace. And while strength can deter war, it can also provoke it. The world is watching. Let's hope the leaders of these nations are watching, too, and that they understand the difference between preparing for defense and preparing for destruction.